Hello, everyone. My name is Kirill. I'm CEO founder of Lazarev.agency. So what we do is that we do user experience for AI companies. The short intro would be that we helped our clients raise $500 million out into our design work. We also nominated as the agency of the year last year. And we won more than 100 different design awards. Been doing this for almost 10 years. And excited to share you some of the case studies and thoughts that we have about the user experience in AI and how the future of the interfaces would look like that you actually can build right now. So the biggest problem in the AI space right now is that 90% of all AI startups fail, with 30% of them due to the lack of the product market fit. And as the user experience designers, we believe that that's one of the biggest problems out there, and it's one of the actually easiest things to fix. Lots of the companies, were building the wrappers of the ChatGPT, and in one day they all dead. What they should have been built in the right way is if they would do the proper user resource, they wouldn't be that stressed about all the open AI openings. Even within the agency, we built like 6 different AI startups, and 3 of them were essentially will never be able to go to public because of that. Because the VCs and the market push you to go to the live and the demo stage as soon as you can. But the reality is that 1 month spent into the proper user research can save you months in a development, and essentially can help you to go to achieve your goals instead of just wasting the time, which lots of people think what the user experience is all about. Another thing that I want to put it out there is that in this space, even in the ChatGPT, which got 100 million users a week right now, there is very low traction in the daily usage of AI products. And I think that's the thing to consider, and that's why. And we mainly believe that it's happening because of the lack of the user experience and the personalization, and thinking of how to build the product for the users instead of how to build the product itself. We believe that in order to create a successful AI product, you need to differentiate, respond to the actual human needs and desires, and build interfaces that will stick with you and that will stick with users. That's the most important part. So AI is cool. The crypto was cool. Well, by the way, the crypto might be cool soon too, right? If you are following 30% growth in the last month. So let's wait, the next wave of crypto AI startups coming next year. The whole thing is that we believe that you need to be different, and you need to understand the users and to build the products that built exactly for that audience. How? You need to find the niche. You need to unlock the actual user needs. And then, you need to consider accessibility and usability, especially into the multimodal LLMs that's coming right now. You need to think about the voice. You need to think about the images. You need to put it on top of your decision process. And if you think about the actual use cases, how your audience is going to use it, not how you think you're going to build the product itself. Define the market, define the target audience, and research the problem needs and build the product around that. Do it as much as you can. So there is a little bit of process that's diamonds that everyone who is in design space seen here, but we do believe that research rules it all. And the more you know about the users, the better product stick and the better traction you have. And you don't actually need to be in AI space to do that. The good design gives people what they want, and the great design solves people problems in innovative ways. I feel that's the case. So how to build the interfaces for AI products out there? The first thing is that everyone is trying to build a product using the chatbot, right? So we have this crazy OpenAI thing, and you're just like, oh, wow, that's a new way how to interact with the interfaces. That's the future. But the reality is that there is big problem out there. There is a new word that appears, right? The new term, the prompt engineering. But in order to be the prompt engineering, you need to be the engineer. There is two parts, the prompt and the engineer. And very few of us are engineers out there. I feel that in this crowd, it's actually much more engineers that's out there in the world. And therefore, you need to design the interfaces that will help the users to use them. And these help to solve this barrier of entering what they're actually looking for. Because within the chat interface only, you put the user in position so they would have to type and type and type and type and type till the end result, instead of just like helping them to go through the way. But how you can do it? Well, the first phase of the presentation, right? You do user research to understand what they actually need, and then you tailor the design for that. So we think that the future is the hybrid. Yeah, there is a prompt base and graphic interfaces. So this is one of the products that we designed that is in development right now. The use case here is that we believe that the interface should be the mix of the text and the widgets that should be built through the design system and should automatically pop up when the users request for the data that they need. So for example, here the user is looking to set up the call and set up the notification, and then the LLM can understand that intent, right? And then based on the intent, it can create the widget for you. And then you can do some interactions in the widget instead of typing, okay, can you reschedule this? Okay, can you do X, Y, that? And, instead of doing 10 or, 5 or 10 text prompts, you can do this 2 clicks. So we believe that the static interfaces are dead, where the designers were creating everything for the users, but the modular interfaces are the future, where you actually use the text and the widgets out there. Here's another one. It's called Pika. This product was backed by Mozilla and supposed to go to the search, to replace the search at all. And what we were doing there is that you see this blue, like a pop-up in the center. So this is how we help the user to navigate and how to chat with our search. And this is how we put the user's attention in the core of the app, following all other different interfaces and elements of the interfaces out there. Here is some of the other examples of that, but I will dive deep into this in a second. So once the user is starting to use your chat-based product, you can recognize the patterns that they have, and the reality is that the users are usually using your LLMs in a very particular use cases for themselves. So, for example, I always use improve as the prompt because I'm not a native speaker, and I'm just like, okay, here's my text, can I just improve it, right? And I essentially 50% of the time that I use ChatGPT, I use just one prompt, and I always typing this improve text, and this gave us an idea that why don't we realize the patterns of what other users are doing and put it as the widgets, and put the use cases, the way the users use the product as the widget, so they can one-click it. So instead of typing the summarize, act test, find similar, improve, compare, wherever you save, you can analyze that and you can put it as the button in your chat interface, and it will save hours and hours of users' time. So yeah, the more you understand the users, you can go even further, and you can do it automatically or semi-automatically. If I'm using improve every single time, I can adapt the model to automatically apply for every prompt that I do. And how cool would that be? Instead of just clicking it, it could be done automatically, and I can just disable it in my settings. So the LLM can essentially analyze the patterns and create the settings personalized for every single users that they are out there. And this is how you create hyper-personalized product, and the users will stick to it and will never go to any of your competitors. In order to do that, you need to build a modular UI, and you need to think about the proper design system. So yeah, in the design space, everyone's saying the design system is the key for years. But right now, I think that's even more important, because there is endless amount of the use cases out there, and that's the beauty and the scariness of the LLMs. And because there is endless amount of the use cases, the designers should only think in a way of that is building design systems and the components that then once you realize the patterns, you can build the widgets on top of it pretty much right ahead. And it's very easy to track because you can track all the requests in your AI product, right? So once you see that some of the case is popping up, you just build the widget on top of the design system, but you need to think in advance about the scalability and actual use cases for it. Here is some other, sorry, let me zoom it out. So if you would, for example, you could pull the data from the Reddit and on Twitter and on Facebook and on Instagram and wherever and put it in a one nice chat. And it could be as the widget right here on your homepage. Or you can collect the data about the videos and a post, and you can structure them in a nicely created UI for the user. There are some other examples how I build it for the storage, but the core things here is that the more flexible you are and the more consistent the design system is, the easier for you to scale. Yeah, not gonna stick here for years, but essentially you can pull once we know that there is a person information, there is a different type of the data sets and attributes that collected to the person, and this is how we can add these tabs pretty much endlessly. The good design is the little design as possible. So you need to think about the functions, and based on the functions, you add the functionalities, not vice versa. And the design system, that's a key for it. There's another product, but that we design, but essentially once the design system is set up, you just go for it. All right. Another thing that we thought is cool is that once you connect your LLM and your product to the through the APIs to the different bunch of the products. So essentially, this is what what we've been doing before the OpenAI did it. So right now, I feel kind of embarrassed that I'm selling it out loud. But the idea is that the more integrations you have in your product, the more your product would be useful for the user. Therefore, they will have more usage of it, right? As simple as that. And when you're building it, you need to think in advance, and you need to think what kind of APIs we can connect to, and what kind of widgets we can pull within the context that we have. And yeah, getting back to that prompt engineering part, right? I think this would be the next feature of OpenAI. But before they did it, I think that the Copilot to help users write prompts is one of the coolest things out there, because you can help the user to navigate, and you can help the users to write their prompts easily, and you can tailor these to the use case of the product that you have. Yeah, communicate what your product can do, explain how it makes decisions, and always display why AI is doing certain decisions. One of the biggest threats out there from the users, was one of the research I think done by the Salesforce, is that users are afraid where the information came from in the AI. They can trust it. And because of that, we came up with a very easy decisions. Well, you just, do your thing. You just show the callouts where you actually pull the information from. And instead of having like 10 different links that you have asked your OpenAI to create, you can just write ahead. Okay, this is where I pulled the information from. And this is how you start to build the trust to your AI product. And once you build the breach of the trust, the users would love to use it more. Another cool part is that, is the hotkeys, right? For this particular product, this one is specially made for the VCs to do the market research. So if you're in the VC space, you need to go and search for the companies and competitors and analyze the market, understand who is doing what and why. And you have the analytics who are sitting out there. Yeah, you can just add this cool little hotkeys that will help you to navigate through it, and essentially reduce the amount of time that the users gonna look for certain functions in your product. Another cool thing that we recognize is that there is a different metrics, and I think this part was, the different lecture. But essentially, you can track if your product is successful or not by finding the swear words in the chat. So if the user is using extensive amount of the swear words, you might, your AI might doing something wrong. And by this small indicator, you can track whether the product is going in the right direction or wrong. But another cool thing is that, you can track response time and the quality by leading from the user behavior. How many times do they have to ask the question, and how fast do they exit conversation once they get the answer or not? It's like one of the biggest challenges are out there for all the product metrics is that if the user entered the prompt 6 times, the average time spent in the product is higher, but is it actually leading the user for the success? Probably not. So our aim as the people who are building AI product is to reduce the time and to reduce the amount of the requests that they're creating. Therefore, you need to create a different metrics to measure your product success. Okay, so there's 4 ingredients for UX for AI. Research, and research again. You need to go through all the classical usability and heuristics, and also you need to build the hybrid interfaces. The hyper-personalization, the more personalized experience user would have, the cooler it would be for them, and the more they're going to use your product. And all the interfaces starting today, right now, I'm kidding, would be modular and self-built interfaces. There is a small case study that I want to walk you really quick, if you're not yet bored. So this is the product that I was showing you before. And the whole thing is that we figure out that once the researcher in the VC is doing research on some niche on some market, they always do it in a split screen mode. So they're picking information from a different part of the web, and then they're kind of preparing it as a separate document to show to their senior level management. And once we realize that, we're just like, wow, why don't we build it as the core functionality of the product to be different and to tailor the product to the user needs? And this is the literal example of how the research can lead you to the UX that's not that common, but tailored to your audience. Another part is that if you are doing the research and if you're a researcher, you would love to track the data, and then convert it into sheets and spreadsheets. So we build this cool tool is that once you have any statistics, you can build a graph from it right ahead, and you can create tables that are convertible and exportable right ahead. Then we track the commands, and once the users ended to doing something, we suggest them with lots of different functionalities that put on top of it. So I found this information, so say I'm the researcher and I found this information about this company, and I ended the conversation. And then once I track this widget to the second part, like I've showed you out here, we can ask you, okay, what do you want to do with this? You can send the summary to email. You can download the summary as the PDF. You can create the report from it, and you can track and send updates to email. So one of the functionalities that we put as the part of this interface is that, say you're the VC and you found this company, you liked it, but I'm not sure if they're going to survive to the pre-seed and series stage. I would love to follow up with them later. So, but how do you track it? Well, now you can do it within the one click. You click the track, and then it follows the company updates on the LinkedIn. It sees if they hire senior level positions from the biggest companies out there. So it adds more points to the internal document. And once you set up this point system, you would be notified if they're doing good or bad. And it's all done automatically. And as I told you, pretty much everything can be converted in a much easier way. And it helps users with a large amount of text in their research. Another cool part is that if you are the researcher, you can also upload the different data sets to this LLM. Moreover, you can set up the data sets that you want to use during your research and you don't want to use. So right now, if you think about the products, you always feed them in a data sets that you think are needed for the user. But what if the user can decide what he actually needs to pull the data from? And this is one of the things that we add there after the resource, because we found out that the different people using the product in a different way, and they need to different type of the data to rely on. And another version of this product is used by the hedge funds and the banks to do the research and predict how the price of the stocks gonna look like. So they have their own data that they want to upload. So therefore, we created the whole interface of the selecting of the data sets out there. I guess that's it. It's time for Q&A. Yeah, so we are a design agency, and this is how our clients work. This is the company called Acern, ACCERN. They've been in the space since 2015, and we've been helping them since 2015. They were working on the AI product. This product is tailored for the VCs, but they have another one for the banks and another one for the hedge funds. And there is a different use cases how you can use it. Yeah. So I mean, if you are a hedge fund or bank or a VC, that's the product for you. Yeah. Kirill, it's paid. Yeah. I'm not sure about the pricing though. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's the greatest challenge as the agency. I mean, we show the direction of the user, of the clients who made the research and the statistics of the clients who didn't. I mean, at the end of the day, we're an agency and we would follow the process that the client would choose. But we always say, okay, guys, here is the product that we scale from the Series Seed to the Series B. And you know why? Because we were doing research all the time. Here is another use cases how we did it. But essentially, we tell you that you can save hours and hours and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars once you are building the product. And research can save you that. So the research is just an ROI on your cash and on your money. I feel that the product should be tailored to the audience that are going to be using the product. And in this particular case, we know the use cases for these guys, and we tailored their the recommendation engine by the source of the markets for the VCs. And we spend a lot of time in doing that. And I think that the more personalized your product is, the better it will work. So I'm not sure if I would. And maybe that's one of the reasons why OpenAI is not doing out a suggestion, because you can go as broad as you can or as short as you can, and that's kind of one of the purposes of the ChatGPT. But for the most of us, we are not building the competitor of the ChatGPT. We're building the product for the very niche use case for the very particular audience that would use it in a very particular way. And the faster we find it out, the better we can build all the features and all the little things around. And I would not, unless you building the competitor of the ChatGPT, I would not go and think in that direction. I would just okay, how can we make the most of these users and how can we help them? Well, we generally say that here is the cost of the building the MVP. And here is the cost of the redoing MVP, and here is the price that associated with that. Usually, that's you can know the ballpark depending on where your team based. If it's local team or if it's the team overseas, you can predict the price of that. And on top of that, you have the marketing budget spent to go to the growth and attack the users, and you can ask the client about it right ahead. So, okay, guys, how much are you ready to spend to track it? And they would probably say, well, we need at least $100K to validate the ideas, to test it out, and say, well, that's cool. And then you need a $300K to $500K to build the product out. So we're talking about the, a $500,000 worth of the MVP. And how much are you ready to spend to make sure that this MVP gonna land to a user? And that's the moment of the negotiations. That's it. Because if you would redo it, how big of a runaway you have? Would you be able to do it 2 times? Probably yes, right? No one, nowadays, no one raising less than $1 million in Bay Area, at least. But you will not be able to do it 3 or 4 times. So that's how we talk to our clients. We say, well, this is what are you gonna invest? Let's think about it together. I love that you can build the model, the ChatGPT model in a day. So in an agency, we do talk to clients, right? And we created our sales agent in a day. Before we had a different, outsourcing team who were building this for us, and we built it in a day. And we just essentially decided not to continue this project with them. So I think that's one of the coolest things out there. And yeah, the vision is something very interesting. I've talked to one of the researchers with the team of OpenAI, and he said a lot of great things that how they actually work on this and how they change the way how the computer vision works within the GPT vision. They essentially recreated it from a different perspective. I think there is a lot of opportunity out there too.